Hi, we're back again. Today we're at a kitchen project. We're here in the heart of Fairfax and we just recently completed this gorgeous kitchen. It didn't look like this when we first got started though. Meg reached out to me and she told me that she had a kitchen that she wasn't in love with. She really hated the cherry wood everywhere, so that was her biggest idea, was to just get rid of the ugly cabinetry. It was a little outdated, so we had the 90s look where we had a bunch of angles everywhere, and then the island was actually a 2-level, which just divided up the space a little bit more. So first thing I suggested was to just have a nice big island here because they really have the space for it. And what got me the most excited was there was a big bulky angled wall here where we had the double ovens, and I wanted to open this space up and just expand the counter space. I didn't at first realize that this behind here was going to be an angled wall, so we ran into that challenge a little bit later on. But the main thing here was to get the oven and the taller units out of the space and draw the eyes up over here and have the ovens right next to the fridge. I usually like to have the taller items grouped together because then you can have a little bit more space between the floor and the ceiling, and it just opens it up a little bit more. Once we came out for our final measurement with the lead contractor, that's where we check things to just see what can potentially occur, and we can get a better sense of that before we actually do the demolition. So over here we ran into our first challenge, and our biggest challenge I would say, which was, turns out this wall was angled mirroring this over here. So we had to, at that point, kind of stop and reevaluate. Meg was super understanding throughout the whole process, and she was just willing to work with us to make a layout that was still just as functional as aesthetically pleasing. So what we decided to do was still get rid of those walls and then angle it off over here. It was a bit hard for her to visualize that, even with just having the design, but at the end she tells me she doesn't regret any of it, so must be a good thing. We have a unique situation here with all the angles. We had to go semi-custom with the cabinets to really maximize the storage space inside there. So these are angled cabinets that go inwards, and we have the same thing up here. Just again to not waste any space, otherwise this would be kind of filled in with larger fillers. Another unique feature in this kitchen is having the TV in the kitchen area. That's something that they wanted to build in, and they don't really have a standard TV cabinet. So what we did here was use a wall microwave cabinet, and instead of having the microwave there, we just put the TV, and it looks pretty nice and clean. And then we were even able to fit in some pantry storage space on this side. And you might be wondering where the microwave is. Well, I'll show you. It's right down here. This isn't a built-in microwave. This is like your standard counter microwave. And what's nice about this is that you don't have to have a dedicated line built in, and you're not married to your microwave if you're somebody that doesn't want to spend a lot of money on it, or just think it's impractical to have to replace it if anything goes wrong. So with this, you just really plug it in back there, and then if anything happens to it, you throw it out, get a new microwave. And you even get some storage space under it. And then we have our cooktop on the island. Another challenge we ran into was the island wasn't in the same exact location as the new one, so we had to patch the flooring. In this case, it turned out really well because down here is where we patched, and you can't even tell where the new hardwood is because it was done pretty well. The colors match up. We have cabinetry on the back side of the island too. They're narrower cabinets, but you can still fit a lot in. Meg was able to fit in her like smaller appliances in here, probably on this side. Okay, there we go. So a lot of people are concerned about how much storage space they'll get, and even with these narrower 12-inch cabinets, you can fit in a KitchenAid mixer, your blender, all that stuff that you don't use on the day-to-day necessarily. One of the most important things in the kitchen is the lighting. Even if you get a lot of natural lighting, adding artificial lighting like can lights or the pendant lights and under cabinet lights help transform the space entirely. Here we went with the cleaner lights above, so no frosted glass, no shades. keeps it nice and open again, and we have the matching chandelier above the dining room space. But another thing that helps a lot that some people overlook are the under cabinet lighting. Again, it just reflects the shininess off the countertops, the backsplash looks brighter, and it just elevates the space. A lot of people want to spruce up the kitchen, again, without going too bold with the colors. Although most of this kitchen is white here, we have gray on the island, which adds some character. But to add even a little bit more character, we had switched from the brushed nickel finishes to the black, which just spiced up the kitchen. I contacted her midway through ordering materials, and I was like, they have it in black now, and she was like, let's go for it. So you might be in the middle of, you know, cooking, you're doing baking, whatever you're doing, your hands are dirty, right? So you come over to the faucet, and now you have to get your faucet dirty because your hands are dirty, but not necessarily. You can just wave your hand right over it, and then when you need it to turn off, you just wave it back over, and then you can manually shut it off too if you don't want it to turn on after that. So that's a really great feature. And then another thing is having your garbage disposal easily accessible right next to the faucet there. So let's say you have the water running, and then you just press that button. When you're done with it, turn it off, and you're good to go. And then usually it's really hard to store your spices because they either tip over, you can't see what they are because they're all stacked on top of each other. Well, not when you have a spice rack. Here you can neatly organize them, and you don't necessarily have to use them for spices. You could have like smaller bottles or other things you cook with. And then you can just shut it right back. This cabinet is also angled, but it's angled in a different way. So over here, again, you just have that storage. None of it's wasted space. Same thing above it. And then one of my favorite parts of this kitchen is going to be the little wet bar over here. If you follow me back here, you can see that this is kind of a continuation of the kitchen space. Same cabinetry. We have glass doors here, and then the LED lights throughout just enhances it. We have another black faucet in the sink. One of the debates here again was whether to keep the sink or not. They eventually decided to keep it, and I think it's a really nice area because when you're done cooking or entertaining, you can continue it over here or grab a drink for your guests or for yourself after a long day. And then if you wanted to, you can just head out into the dining room space, which leads back here. So it's in the perfect spot to have access while entertaining. And we're back to the kitchen. Another great part of this was being able to actually move the double ovens over here. And it's a very nice oven unit, kind of matches their dishwasher, and you still have stored space above it and below. So this is a great place to keep your baking sheets. Even if you want to just put like your cutting boards in there, that's a good spot for it too. And then the fridge right next to it. Again, the lines drawing the eye up. One thing we debated throughout the design process was whether we take the cabinets all the way up to the ceiling with the stacked cabinets or just kept them at the larger standard height, which is 42 inches. I suggested adding taller crown molding to the top so that we can bring it up a little bit more and there isn't as much of a space between the cabinets and the ceiling. And then we painted them about the same color as the cabinetry above. Again, so it just fills in the space and makes it seem like the cabinets are going all the way up when they're not. Whereas when you have a colored paint back there, like a blue, gray, red, whatever it is, it really sticks out and it makes the room feel a little bit smaller. So that's what we accomplished by having the crown molding with the matching paint above. And then to tie it in all together, we have our gorgeous quartz countertops. This is a cashmere Carrera, and it just goes really nicely with the whites and grays that play off of it, as well as our backsplash. That's also a Carrera material. And we have that going up around the sink area as well to just add a little bit more character to the space rather than ending it where the wall cabinets do. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.